It's the most gabagool time of the year. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Fightful NXT post show. Hey, it's me. It's Alex Pawlowski, and there's Kate. And we're here to talk about NXT, I guess, and also sing NXT-themed Christmas carols.
Yeah, we are.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I hope you guys are all here to have fun, because that's what we're here for. Because because NXT is not great right now. I mean, there's some bright spots.
Yeah. What happened between the ropes was pretty good. The booking is stupid. The creative is terrible. Let's sing Christmas songs.
Apparently so. Oh boy. Hey, get in your super chats and your humper chats at humperchats.com. Yeah, we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. We'll sing the songs you ask us to sing, because that's the thing that we do here. We got some stuff planned that should be fun. We'll save that for the end as per usual. But we should probably just get through this deal. Kate?
Yes.
A few years ago, WWE was like, we want to make NXT, the black and gold, into the third brand of WWE. We're gonna put them on equal footing at Survivor Series. We're gonna book those triple threat matches so that a lot of the NXT talents go over. We want to present them as like that they're right on par with the main roster. So they decided, hey, let's have main roster people show up in NXT to combat the fact that the NXT people took over SmackDown that one time when everybody was stuck on a tarmac in Saudi Arabia. And they definitely were still planning that big invasion angle, even if the tarmac thing hadn't happened, I'm sure. But anyway, that was an actual good faith effort to try to get people to take NXT seriously. We see kind of how that worked out for them over the course of the last couple of years. But now NXT is really, really floundering. This 2.0 thing is not working out for them too well. And so they decided to have the exact same response, which is, let's send some main roster guys to NXT and see if they can pop a rating or get people talking at least. And maybe if they're talking, they'll get interested, and maybe the talking will lead to watching ? Because it sounds like that's what they're doing. At least the Raw guys are going to be doing some stuff on NXT because it's USA and USA. I'm wondering if this is a suggestion from the USA Network of like, hey, maybe these people who you have on Raw, maybe some of them will come over and watch this thing on Tuesday, if they think that AJ Styles or Matt Riddle will be possibly wrestling or something.
Yeah, so there's a few issues with this. The problem with NXT in general is that everything has changed, but nothing has changed. And that NXT was always meant to be developmental. But the guys that they were developing have been doing this a real long time and were real good at this. So that developing into its own brand was endemic and made sense and was organic and a natural progression of things. A bunch of guys who are in developmental that haven't been doing this for years, and gals, is not a compelling television show. And it makes me wonder what USA is thinking of this, because there have been a couple weeks where they got a ratings pop. I think it's been pretty funny to see like how fake the Wednesday Night Wars were, because clearly that wasn't real. Like NXT's numbers stayed the same, and then they rebooted, and they still haven't moved very much. And AEW's went up a little bit, but that was also like they have Danielson and Punk and stuff. So that was never actually a thing. But floundering is a good word. And I don't just even mean because it's a product that you and I overall don't like, because I think that's also true about Raw and SmackDown, and they draw pretty well. I think floundering is a good word because the issue for me with the old NXT, while it was my favorite product, was it was kind of ill-defined. Like, it's its own brand, but they still refer to moving to Raw and SmackDown as getting called up. Like, how is this functioning? It is its own TV show. It's not on the network, and it's on network television. I thought this was very much more like clear in that sense. And does unfortunately seem to be more connected to what's going on with the main roster. But now that you've done that, it's just not a product that makes for good weekly episodic television because you're developing guys. So it's a little bit tricky. It makes sense to send guys from Raw. I don't know if it's going to draw people away from the NFL crowd. Like, if that's who you thought you were.
But the thing about it is the NFL hopefully isn't going to be, well, probably will be because, COVID, but hopefully isn't going to be having games on Tuesdays normally. So,
right.
So maybe that's a thing, but I don't know if that's the ticket. It certainly seems also, it's kind of like, your mileage may vary on whether or not you're excited to see AJ Styles fight Grayson Waller, or whether or not you think it's smart, creative to like have MSK spend 6 weeks out of the ring so they could become buddy with Matt Riddle and he can give them scooters and then he can accompany them to the ring when they say a week ahead of time, next week, we're going to go into the ring and call out Imperium and Matt Riddle's going to be with us. Like, is that a thing? Like, they think it's going to, people like, oh, next week, Matt Riddle will stand next to two guys who we haven't seen wrestle in 2 months. And they're gonna call out the tag champs. I better tune in to NXT 2.0 next week. Like, do they think that's what's gonna happen? Because I doubt it.
Well, and who are you going after? Because you're sending Riddle, who was on a great tag team back in like the old NXT era, and you're sending AJ Styles, one of the greatest indie darlings kind of ever, and certainly outside of AEW, your biggest kind of indie darling. So are you trying to get old fans to watch your product again? Are you like, what is the intent there? Because you're not Roman Reigns probably you're not going to send to NXT, but you know what I mean? Like, you're not sending guys that necessarily are like a hot name right now. Like, I guess RK Bro is, but like, it seems like they're very intentionally sending people that independent wrestling fans would like. Wow, there's also sending the message that we're destroying independent wrestling.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. That just seems to be like that seems to be the trend where we're headed. Like, it seems like they're doing an experiment here with the AJ Styles thing and Riddle being like not just in pre-taped, on location segments, but like live on NXT. Riddle's going to be there next week. It seems like this is like they're setting up a test balloon and see what happens.
And that's what they did in WWE CW, right?
Yeah.
Like that was a thing. I don't know if that is something that they considered successful, but I will say there's also a very big difference when the NXT young boy is Bryan Danielson and The Miz versus like Grayson Waller. We'll talk about his promo, which I just thought was all over the place tonight. Like, again, you were working with a crop of talent that I guess it was a bit more of a mixed bag at that point, but like, CM Punk figured some things out in Ring of Honor before he came over.
Yep.
Danielson, another good example. So when you're pairing Natalya with Charlotte Flair, that's a little different than pairing AJ Styles with Grayson Waller.
Yeah, I think you're right, and we'll talk more about that when we come to that specific section. What we started out with was come, they told me, Tom Champa Papa. We started out with Ciampa, and he came down and he basically said, "Listen, I know I'm going to start talking about how I'm the greatest champion, blah blah blah." And then Braun Breaker, he's gonna interrupt me. He's gonna come on out, so you don't even need to worry about interrupting me, because here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna call you out to the ring. I kind of appreciated the overall conceit of this segment. of Ciampa saying, listen, I know how it works. I've been around the block a few times. And see, that's the difference between you and me. Like, that seems to be the whole thing there. But he calls him out, and Breakker comes out, and Breakker's going to go get a microphone. I say, no, don't get a microphone. Because I already know what you're thinking. I know what you're going to say. You're going to say that you beat me, you pinned me in War Games, you earned this title shot. And I really appreciated Ciampa saying, and you're right. You did pin me. You did beat me. And you did earn this title shot. And guess what? I want to give you the title shot. Let's say at New Year's Evil. Let's do it. But the thing of it is, Braun, I don't think you're quite ready yet. Like, you're good. You're really good. I've been doing this for like 20 years. You've had 20 matches. And you're really good for how young you are. But you're not experienced enough to know how to beat me. And I totally appreciate Ciampa being kind of objective, being like, not like, you suck, kid, you haven't had enough matches, why don't you go get some more seasoning before you even belong in the same ring with me. He's saying, these are your strengths, you're a prodigy. And yet the thing about prodigies is that they're young and inexperienced, mega talented but young and inexperienced, and I have the experience necessary. And then he does this thing about how maybe you're gonna beat me, and then you'll take the title back home, and you'll be there with dad and mom, and you'll be going hoo 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 hoo, and you'll put the thing. But again, just call him Steiner if you're gonna do this. And then you'll put the title on the mantle, and then he slaps Braun Breakker. And this is the one point that I wondered about. What was Ciampa's like plan? Like, here, he's deliberately getting Braun Breakker more and more pissed off, and then he slaps him, and then Breakker like throttles him, picks him up as though he's going to do his finisher to him, and then Breakker sets him down on his feet like, I could kill you if I wanted to, but I'm not going to do that. I want you at full strength when I beat you in a couple of weeks. And I really appreciated that reaction by Breakker, by basically saying, listen, I've just proved that I could murder you if I wanted to, but I'm not gonna right now. I like that, but I don't understand what Ciampa was trying to get to. Like, after he slapped Breakker, what did he think Breakker was going to do? Because he seemed incredibly surprised by the fact that Breakker tried to fight back after the slap. And I was like, that was the one flaw in your plan, Ciampa, was that you thought he wasn't going to fight back, and that was weird.
So, agree with you on a lot of fronts. The first is, I don't know why it works sometimes and why it doesn't work with other guys. There are some guys who are just a lot better at and allowed to point out wrestling tropes or things that we see all the time. And they do it really well. And one great way of doing that is, A, when you're a heel, that's important, I think, to when you're the seasoned guy, when you're the guy who knows how this works, for me, I like that a lot more, of you just being like, I know what you're going to say. Because while it's the same promo that we hear all the time, it's also the same promo that guy's heard a bunch of times. So I loved this kind of patronizing dick Ciampa. And I like that we have a more clearly defined heel and face in this space, which was, I think, a big intention of this promo. I also very much liked when he pointed out that Breakker slipped on the rope. Sorry, Breakker.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to mispronounce. He was like, you wouldn't do that a second time, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I loved that. Like, you're smart, kid, but also, like, this is kind of a douchey, underhanded thing to say to you, because you very well could do it again. And I've been around 20 years, and I know that. So I really, really appreciated what Ciampa did here. The slap to me also felt out of place, because to slap someone is almost always a reactionary thing. Especially in like wrestling wise, that's more like a receipt. And he didn't really it wasn't like in reaction to anything. So that just felt weird if Breakker had said something to warrant that, or it was something other than a slap. Even if he just kicked him in the head, it could just be like a, yeah, you dumb kid kind of thing. But a slap just always almost feels like a retort in wrestling. But I loved Breaker looking like a strong, smart baby face, but also doing the baby face thing you're supposed to do of, I want you at your best. Let me just place you down in the corner. And yeah, Ciampa being,
because that's, to me, that's almost more disrespectful to the guy who's been disrespecting him. Is like, I could do my finisher to you right now. You're helpless. I want you to remember feeling helpless, because that's what Breaker is the kind of guy you could absolutely book as a tweener for his entire career, and just shades of gray either side, but right down the middle. I don't think you need to book him as like a baby face, because that's hard to get a guy that size, that powerful over as a guy, because WWE, if you're a baby face, you have to fight against the odds at all times. That's how they ruined Braun Strowman. When they made Braun Strowman into a baby face, they had him like fight from underneath. They had Braun Strowman fight from underneath. Ridiculous. And if you make him into a heel, that's like, it's all those tropes are also there in a different way. Just make him right down the middle as a guy we love to watch pick dudes up and yeet them into the fourth row. Like, that's fun. I think we should do more of that.
And when you don't go for the kill there, when you put the guy down, it also says, I'm confident that I can beat you at your best. I don't need to maim you before. Like, I'm pretty sure I can do this without hurting you.
This is precisely why I thought it was a very good idea to not only have Ciampa win the 4-way on the first night, but then retain against Breaker in the first match between them. Because I thought you could get a better story if you stretched it out a little longer. And here is the point where I say, now's the time to do it. You got to put the title on Breaker at New Year's Evil and see what you got. Because we got somebody like Sean Ross Sapp who makes predictions, sure, but also they're usually educated guesses. And when every time somebody asks him, who do you think is going to win the Royal Rumble this year, he always says Braun Breaker. And I'm like, are we doing that already? Like already? So I don't know. Maybe the whole point of it is to not do it, like not have him win the title and then get him called up to the main roster right away. I'm not really sure, honestly.
That feels like a heck of a hot shot. Though there's never been a time that he's been on screen and I haven't been, I want to say, impressed like in a huge way, because part of the reason I'm impressed is for how short of a time he's been doing this. But there's never been a time where he's been on screen where I'm like, that is so illogical. He looks nervous. He definitely doesn't look as green as he is in that sense. I think he's helped by working with a guy like Ciampa for sure, but he definitely gets this. So I don't hate it. I just think if he wins Rumble, he doesn't dethrone Roman, and I think he's the guy to dethrone Roman. I just think that's coming later. But I kind of wish that Ciampa had a couple more opponents that he could have like made, in a sense, like some of these younger guys that he maybe had some feuds with or some more title matches with.
They sent Samoa Joe to a farm upstate where he can run and be free and play with other Samoa Joes. Like, I don't understand what they did with him. So, you know,
I'm just thinking of a farm of Samoa Joes.
Yeah, you know what you tell your kid. Oh no, Rover's good. We sent him to a farm upstate where he can run and play with other dogs. You know, fine stuff. That's kind of what they did.
I think that farm is called AEW. They're trying to desperately not send him there.
Yeah, that farm upstate is called. You're under contract to us, so you're going to be a talent scout now. Anyway, we saw the Instagram video of Grayson Waller. We'll talk more about that whole thing in a bit. We got what I thought was going to be the main event was the first match of the night, which is Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai, because I thought it signified something more. I thought it was going to be Raquel's swan song in NXT. I was sure, because I thought going into this street fight, whoever loses is going to the main roster. And they already took a serious look at Dakota Kai and decided to pass on her because they're terrible judges of talent.
Correct.
So honestly, if you look at Dakota Kai, if you watch film of her, her entire time in NXT and before she even showed up here, and then you let her come up to the main roster and do dark matches, and you go, nah, we're gonna pass, then you suck at evaluating talent. I'm sorry, you just do. But so I thought they were gonna have Dakota Kai just stick around in NXT and call Raquel up. But that's not what they did. I appreciated the way they started the match, though, which was Raquel showed up to start the match, and Dakota was waiting for her, and they just did the match starting in the back with all the stuff before the match could technically start, because they can't start it until they get in the ring. So the match didn't actually start until after the commercial break, because they fought through the back, then they fought outside, and then during the commercial break, they were fighting in the parking lot. Then it came through a different entrance, and then into the ringside area where the match actually started. I thought this showed that these two have worked together for a very long time. They know each other. They know exactly. They obviously plotted this thing out really, really well beforehand. They said, here's a spot we're going to do with this road box. Here's a spot we're going to do with this ladder. Here's what we're going to do with this clangy pole. All this stuff, they all figured out what they were going to do ahead of time. It was all really well done. And then I appreciated how Dakota Kai is so good.
She's is
so good. And if she's not going to be appreciated under the WWE umbrella, I want her to go literally anywhere else where she can be appreciated and booked to be the amazing wrestler that she is. But her reaction to being power bombed onto the ring steps on the outside, like it made me sad for her.
Mm-hmm.
She was in so much pain. The way she reacted to it was just like I honestly thought I watched her mouth the words, "Oh God," which is a great thing to do to get over the selling. It's great. And then she gets back into the ring. She gets Shingona bombed onto a trash can and pinned. 1, 2, 3, done. So let's talk about the match before we talk about what happened afterwards.
Sure. I think, so first of all, I'll throw this to you. This begs the question, why do street fights have to start in the ring?
I don't know why, but apparently they do. The same reason why occasionally you have a big time, like 6-man, no holds barred street fight, but you got to tag in and out. You got to tag in and out. Otherwise, it's how would we know who's the legal man?
I literally was like, the reason for that is so that the fight starts in front of fans. I think, officially starts.
Yes.
Excuse me. This match was great. I wish this match happened at New Year's Evil or whatever they're calling it. I so appreciate Dakota Kai for all of the things that you mentioned. I've talked about her ring psychology at length on here. Today, I realized, especially because this feud was a longer term one, she's just a wildly selfless wrestler. And I was thinking about how Raquel was really good, and I think they gave her the title at the right time, but there's certain wrestlers that grow with the title, and then there's certain people that are ready for the title and make other wrestlers. Raquel, I think, was still growing a little bit, and I think Dakota Kai is a big part of why she's been so successful. And today was just a really wonderful reminder of just how selfless Dakota Kai is in the spots that she takes and the way that she sells. Just a tremendous dance partner for pretty much anyone you can put in there, and wildly versatile. God, she can make Raquel look good. She can make Io Shirai look good. She can just make anybody you put in the ring with her look good, and they're beating her at times in the match, and she's winning at times in the match. She's just fantastic. And that just occurred to me watching this, of how integral I think she's been to Raquel's success as well. Really wish this was at the pay-per-view. We'll get into what it set up. I don't think your theory is wrong. I think that if they called up who lost to this match, it would feel like that women's championship is even less important. The other thing with Dakota Kai, they brought her up and they sent her down, and I think it might have been a not yet because of all of the instability that was going on. I think they were like, we have something with her. She doesn't really fit in up here, but let's work around her injuries and figure out something else character-wise that might translate a little bit better, I think they might have been like, I know what we have with her, but what she's doing felt like old NXT a lot of times. And like this newer character, I'm wondering if she does get called up because it fits in a little bit better with what's going on the main roster. And I think it might have been more of a timing issue because they then released 200 people than that. So
yeah, I'm kind of wondering if I don't know where she fits, honestly. Like they seem to have a very distinct pecking order on SmackDown. It's Charlotte and then Sasha and then some women who have no chance of beating either of them. And I guess she could just slot in there and be another one of those. But like they've that's what they've done with those two. And on Raw, it's like Becky and then whoever Becky's currently feuding with, and then whoever Bianca is currently feuding with, and then the weird jumble of the tag team division. Like,
so that's what I was going to bring up is they've either got to have a division or they got to dissolve the belts. I'm guessing if they haven't dissolved the belts, I'm wondering if they're going to do a thing where they bring up like 8 women at once and are like, this is the tag team division again. You know what I mean? Or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
All right. Well, before we move on, we're going to into the post-match thing. We're going to do some quick Humper and Super Chats. Dan Matt Darby says, Merry Christmas, Kate and Alex. Merry Christmas to you. And also with you, Gabagool. This is a good name for an account. Grapsody and Team Kalex Rule says, Happy Holidays. Hashtag Team Kalex for life. And hashtag Grapsody forever. James Nepper says, come on, get up, let's go. We got to get to the ring. Come on, let's go. We didn't even hear the ring bell anyways. Like, that was how this thing started. It was like, we got to get to the ring. Come on, guys, let's get it in the ring. We got to get this thing started. We got to, like, the ring bell we never heard the ring bell because it was during the commercial. So it was like this, it was very important that they get to the ring. They finally got to the ring. It was like, then they just kept doing what they were doing. They didn't like get them in the ring and like, okay, you guys ready? You in your corner, you in your corner, and go. It was just like once they entered the ring area, all right, now the match can end, I suppose.
Yeah, that was kind of odd, but I kind of liked that because, well, first of all, in the sea of chaos and things that make no sense, this is pretty low on the offensively stupid scale because they at least really have been telling the story of these two just effing hate each other, right? So, like, I can at least buy into the fact that, like, neither of them were all that concerned about a victory until...
Yeah. So, we have Paul Hensler.
Hi, Dad.
Saying Merry Christmas to Team hashtag Kalex. Hold on, I think I got this one here. There we go. Merry Christmas to Team hashtag Kalex, and of course JW Pringle. I need Tony D to say, "Hey, be a good cheer, eh?" Gababoo.
Because it's my dad and it's a wholesome family story, I wanted to talk about my hat.
Oh, please.
And this little wrestler, and I think it's gonna get us super chats. So. People like it when I talk about how rad my family is, which is cool because my family is amazing. It extends to my extended family, and my aunt made me this hat. My Aunt Diane, she crocheted this. She's recently retired. She wrote me this really beautiful card about transitioning into retirement and how crocheting was the thing that she picked up. It's my Aunt Diane. If you want a super chat and comment on my cool hat, say Kate's Aunt Diane rules or something like that. And out of nowhere, like an RKO, like a few weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago, she just sent me this little like pathetic excuse for Stretch Armstrong kind of thing. And the card, I think, just said "thought of you" and nothing else on it. But it's like this.
Mom, can we have Stretch Armstrong? We have Stretch Armstrong at home, and that is Stretch Armstrong at home.
It's like this wannabe great colleague kind of. Oh my God, it's so funny. I just thought of you in the card. So it's my Aunt Diane. She made this. She wrote this really sweet card. And there's just like, everybody loves my wholesome family, and so do I. So I was like, I'm going to wear it on the stream. And then if you all send in compliments, I'm gonna send them all to her. I'll screenshot them all.
And then JW Pringle says back, howdy, Kate's mom and dad. Thought I'd let my Texans show a bit. Hope y'all have a Merry Christmas. Just like the Grinch.
I was just going
The
to
Grinch
say,
is from Texas. Apparently.
If you watched our holiday stream for Fightful that was on at 6:00, you will learn that the Grinch has done more of a tour of the Texas area than the Von Erichs.
Yes. Yeah. And then Valab says, in this time of year, I ask you all to keep warm, Gabagool. Unless you're from down in the southern hemisphere, then keep cool, Gabagool. Yeah, there you go. Very good.
That's very kind of you.
Yeah, very thank you. And thank you for making it geographically specific. I really appreciate that. Yeah. After this first match, Raquel is like, I'm tired of waiting. I'm done with Dakota. And now I'm calling you out, Mandy Rose. I want my rematch for the title. And then they go to commercial. And then they come back from commercial and she's still there. Like, come on, Mandy Rose, where are you? And then Cora Jade comes out and Cora Jade says, but I want my title match. And they're like, listen, I know we're friends, but if you stand in my way of getting my rematch, says Raquel, I will murder you while you stand. Like, that was very interesting. And then we got on the Titantron, we got Mandy Rose in a bikini, because of course, at her pool. And I do not believe you can use an NXT women's title belt as a flotation device. So I hope she's being very careful in that pool. But she's got that around her waist, and she says, you know what? I'm going to make it easy for you two. At New Year's Evil, let's have a triple threat. You two, me against you, and don't worry, I'll make sure the match gets made official because I have William Regal tied up in my basement. What's happened to William Regal? It's Christmas. Let him out for Christmas, for God's sake.
Gosh.
Anyway, and so I would like a triple threat match is usually looked at by the champion as a bad idea because it means they don't have to get pinned to lose the title.
Right. And
so somebody like Mandy Rose, who has appeared to be ducking literally all challengers, saying, I want to have a triple threat match, seems to go against that convention. I'm just saying it seems kind of odd that she would decide to do it herself.
But you're forgetting that she's hot.
I forgot.
Yeah, so I will say it makes a little bit more sense in that she has exactly two other people that watch their back. And I think from a wrestling match perspective, it makes it much easier to hide the weakest link when you have a triple threat. So that's at least good. Yeah. But it does not make sense when she doesn't even say, like, I'm the best wrestler. She's like, I'm hot.
Yeah.
And brunette.
And she also says, like, I have to beat the two of you who are so ugly. Like, what is that? What is that a thing? Like, that's not even like.
It's not even true. They're really
it's not even true. But like, it's also like, what are you, 9? Like, what is like? I like that's even beneath like high school Mean Girls stuff. Like, yeah, you are ugly and I am pretty. My daddy says so. Are you Tiffany Stratton? Like, what are we doing with this? Cyclops Better Than Wolverine says, once Raquel won, I changed the channel for good. Yeah, she's not high on some people's list of people they like, and with good cause for some people. I agree. It is what it is, man. I don't know. Then she says, oh, I've also got you something else for Christmas. And Toxic Attraction shows up, Gigi and JJ, and they attack with kendo sticks.
Why are all the faces so dumb all the time?
And like, it was so funny because like, Raquel's like, what could you possibly mean? I don't understand. And then he gets hit with the first kendo stick. And between Raquel getting hit with the first kendo stick and Cora getting hit with the second kendo stick was like 4.5 seconds of Cora Jade just standing there not doing anything. And I was like, okay. So then they both beat the crap out of Raquel. but Cora goes down with one kendo stick to the shoulder, which means to me she's not ready medically to have this match. If one kendo stick puts her down for the count forever, perhaps we should rethink that.
Yeah, that beatdown was just awkward. First of all, if you are going to take a tiny skateboard to the ring with you all the time, I mean, what's a better defense against a kendo stick than your tiny skateboard? Probably a reasonably sized skateboard. But like, I don't know, use it. Swing it back. Use it as a shield.
I know they have elbow pads and knee pads and stuff for riding skateboards. Do they have shoulder pads?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I mean, like, do they have like full body? Like, I'm probably gonna fall off of this skateboard when I'm like, do they? Because I know they have like crazy jump stuff. I mean, now listen, it's been a long time since I watched the X Games. Okay, so like, I'm wondering, do they have like full body things you could wear? Because maybe she should just wear that around in case.
That'd be a great idea. Even if that's not a thing, she should make it a thing. I just, it gets. I'm so sick of referees and faces looking dumb all the time. Like, oh, I'm sure her two best friends and the tag team champions aren't hanging around us. Like, come on, man.
Yeah. Ricky Snugs says, does Aunt Diane do dog sweaters?
I will have to inquire. I have a dog, so I will also place an order and I will find out on your behalf.
Valab says, nice hat, Kate. I want that Stretch Armstrong. It's very Robot Chicken-esque.
Ooh, I just made it like a new Shanka. Whoops. He is like he would fit in an NXT 2.0. This is kind of like Vince's dream. I'm a cruiserweight. 205 Live.
JW Pringle says, Aunt Diane knits one heck of a hat and found the prototype Von Wagner stretch doll. She's a cool lady like Vilma from Scooby-Doo.
She is a cool lady. As is
Vilma. So
Von Wagner. Oh no, this is gonna be way too much fun.
Yeah, we're gonna talk too much about that. Mark Losper sent in, I believe it's a Humper Chat. He says that if you're a USA executive, the only reason you're putting up with having the show on your channel is because you're hoping to curry favor for Raw.
Well, no, because even poorly drawing wrestling shows are better than reruns of the show Suits or whatever. A lot of times, like, it's when we look at the number 500,000 or whatever, I think we think that's bad because we see other wrestling numbers. But when you look at it in the grand scheme of programming on the network, I think you probably don't think it's that bad, but you were probably anticipating growth, and that ain't happening. So that's where I think they would be mad, is like, they probably were like, we're going head to head with AEW. This is a product that's moving forward, and now it's just going to be right here for the rest of time.
Yeah. We got a Joe Gacy and Harland promo. It says they've asked for this time to apologize. And then they do this thing like, can you guys hear us? And then Joe Gacy says, yes, Mr. Joseph, we can hear you. In the most obvious, like, hey, we pre-taped this thing, and he says we can hear you. So Vic Joseph, make sure you throw to the pre-tape by saying, can you hear us? So obvious, but I appreciate them trying. And I honestly didn't mind this Joe Gacy promo. Like, it felt like, well, listen, like, obviously Harland is very, very sorry for what he did. You can tell by the remorse on his face, and of course there's no remorse on his face. But you triggered my friend. He was horribly, violently abused when he was growing up, and so you put your hand on him and he snapped. And obviously, maybe, perhaps, some might say, Mr. Kendrick, that you brought this on yourself. I would never say that, which I do appreciate. I appreciate that. I thought this was well laid out and delivered and fine. And like, whatever. And then we see later that we see the Brian Kendrick cutting a promo in front of his own cell phone wearing a neck brace. The neck brace Kendrick, as you so deftly tweeted. And he says, so you think that maybe I should apologize to you? Well, fine. So I just quit. He just takes off the neck brace. I just quit my job as an NXT coach. And now apparently I'm cleared to wrestle with this horrible neck injury I suffered last week. So next week it's you and me, Harland. And I was just like, all right, Brian Kendrick. Like, okay, let's do this, apparently.
I have questions. So I really liked Joe Gacy a lot. And one thing that I appreciated about this whole promo was I had this chief complaint, right? Of it, you can't be surprised that violence breaks out in a wrestling ring. That's the point of it. That incident didn't happen in a wrestling ring. That happened outside of a wrestling ring. So this should be the reaction. Really liked that. The Brian Kendrick being the opponent for Harland is just a weird choice. He very well may have been like his shoot trainer, and maybe that's something they're trying out while he's still so green. And also, just because you resign as a coach, does that mean that hold harmless agreements are just like out the window? That means you don't have to be medically cleared because you're not a coach anymore. That means you also got signed to a talent contract in that time. Like, what is happening? Where is William Regal? What is going on?
Yeah, I guess.
And I, by the way, I really like the Brian Kendrick. I think he was criminally underrated in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
We'll have to wait and see.
Sense.
We're gonna have to let it play out, Kate. Because I don't know. I mean, listen, Kendrick is he's a coach. Like he's also like he's been doing this forever. So if they're gonna say, hey, all right, Brian, this is your project. You got to figure out how to make this guy Harland wrestle a match, because he had a match, but he still hasn't wrestled a match. Remember, like he did one thing and that was it,
and it wasn't good.
And it wasn't good. So, like, you know, like maybe that's his whole thing. Like we're not gonna put Harland in there with somebody who he might injure. So, like, we're going to have, like, Kendrick in there is going to only let him do stuff that he knows he can do because he's going to work with him one-on-one to make him get better. I honestly feel like if this wasn't on a major cable and was being broadcast live to anyone, this is what you would do with a guy you saw potential with. You would have him work one-on-one with a vet, with a good coach, and maybe even have that coach be the guy he has matches with, but you would do it in dark matches or like on the little house show loop they do, or maybe you would do it on like you tape the match, and if the match is good enough, or you can edit out all the weird stuff, then you show it on your taped thing that runs on the network for an hour every week. We're going to see how this goes from here on out. You know, that there's what I saw today is I was like, this really is developmental. Like it really, really is. And we're going to see a lot of people get pushed for a few weeks and then obviously present themselves as not being ready and then just go away for a little while before they, if they ever come back weeks or months later. Like it's going to be a thing they're going to have to do. And we're just going to have to roll with the punches of like, hey, remember that guy who they really seemed to be high on and then he had a match and he was terrible in it and we never saw him again? Like that's going to happen a lot. Like the other half of Indus Sher, the weird, like the other Veer's former tag team partner in NXT, who, let's be honest, probably got shelved because he tweeted out who won that big match between Keith Lee and Adam Cole, but also was terrible. Like he was just not ready yet. But that might happen a lot more with people who were like, hey, I thought that guy was going to be somebody. And no, he's not, because he's not ready yet.
Yeah, and I think I will have a lot of leniency for that point because it is developmental. I just wish a lot of other things on the show made more sense. So I feel like I would have more forgiveness if it wasn't like, and this guy just disappeared and came back as somebody else, because that's going to happen a lot. So we already saw it with Grayson Waller, basically. But when like the booking is bad and a lot of other things on the show don't make sense, like anybody can just decide to have a match whenever they feel like it now. It makes it hard to not get annoyed at that too, where that's something that we probably should have forgiveness around.
Right. So grizzled young veterans are backstage watching. Have you seen this Twitter video of the Creed brothers working out?
No.
Before tonight? Did you see it on social media?
I don't think so.
Oh my God. So it's 315 pounds on a barbell. There's no bench. There's no equipment other than the bar. Laying on his back in the driveway, doing a single press of 315 pounds. Well, like if you're not on a bench, if you're just laying on your back on the floor, like bench is way harder. So like he just does 350 pounds and like hands it to his brother, gets up and like does a front flip. And then his brother does like a clean and jerk with the same barbell, and then hands it back to his first brother. And then he does a backflip. And they're doing this for like a minute. I'm like, it's like, this makes burpees look like the most amateur shit ever. Like they're doing this with a fucking barbell. I'm like, these guys are amazing. Like, can you not like book them as like the fourth most impressive tag team in the juniors division? Like can you book them better than this? So the GYV is watching the video and like, oh, it doesn't matter because they say it doesn't matter what they can do with these. It matters what we can do with these. And so GYV says we're smarter than the Creed brothers. We'll simply outsmart them and win the match. And I would be fine with this if that's the way you actually booked the match. By having GYV literally set traps and be smart and run around behind somebody and yank the guy off the apron so the hot tag can't be made. You know, the shit that the Revival used to do on the reg all the time that made them the smartest tag team in wrestling. Like, that's what you should be. If you have GYV slumming it down here in the juniors division, then at least make them super smart and win a bunch of their matches. But they're being booked like absolute dog shit. And oh, poor GYV.
Yeah, and like don't do weird vignettes with them having wings. Like that doesn't scream I'm super smart. Yeah, I'm really impressed by the Creed brothers, and they're slowly but surely developing more of a personality, I think, which is really good. I think they have the right person in front of them right now, and I think they need a mouthpiece for a really long time, because even in the ring, it's still a little mechanical. Like very, very good from a like they were amateur wrestlers, like a very good technical perspective, but not a ton of expression and storytelling yet. So I think that they're going to be great. I think they're developing. And it is hard when you have an inherently developing tag team against. It's worse with tag teams for some reason too. For me, like when you have a team that is smart and established and has been there for a while and really knows what they're doing. I think because there's just so much psychology involved in tag team wrestling when it's done right. To buy into the fact that like this very established and polished and smart team is losing to these younger guys. But like you said, that also has a lot to do with the booking.
Yeah. So during this match where, you know, GYV doesn't look smart or particularly good because of the booking, Jacket Time shows up and they've got their own commentary desk. And the Batted to One Jam Beard says they really are turning Jacket Time into Kai and Tai, aren't they? Soon Jiro is going to be saying, indeed. There's nothing fundamentally wrong about a Japanese tag team. That's fine. What's wrong is if you are presenting them as being a joke tag team, mostly because they're Japanese. And that's funny because they speak a funny language. Look at this guy. Look, doesn't he look and sound funny? And when you do that, that's a problem. Don't do that. Like, I mean, like if you said, hey, we're going to call Kushida up to the main roster. We're going to kick Eric Boogs to the curb. And we're going to have Shinsuke Nakamura and Kushida as a tag team and have them wrestle the way they know how to wrestle and wrestle great matches with the Usos and what is left of the Viking Raiders, like, and the New Day. And you did that. There'd be nothing wrong with Shinsuke Nakamura and Kushida doing that. It would nothing wrong with them being a Japanese tag team if you're not playing it for ha-ha because they're Japanese And that's the problem with this.
Man, oh man, did Wade Barrett feel uncomfortable with this whole thing on commentary?
Yeah, he did.
He had no idea, and he shouldn't know what to do with it because it makes no sense. Let's cut away to commentary in a language that we're not even close to understanding multiple times, and Wade Barrett just kind of goes, I agree with everything Kushida said, but not like he just had no idea. And because why are you doing that? Oh, to make them look foolish because they speak a different language? Like, people come out on commentary all the time and then surprise, surprise, they get involved with the ending of the match, or they talk to the loser of the match or the winner of the match after. Like, happens all the time in wrestling. It's a trope that we've accepted. This was just, I don't know. I just don't know what this is other than a cartoonish depiction of Japanese wrestlers when you have two incredible wrestlers right in front of you.
Yeah.
Bewildering.
So they're on commentary, and they actually keep throwing to them on commentary, speaking in Japanese. And again, that's the joke. The joke is they're speaking Japanese. That is why they're doing it, because it's funny. And then the Double Vest and the Beach come down, and I was very impressed with Double Vest. He wasn't wearing the double vest, so I don't know what his name is. Otherwise, I forgot what his name is, but I'm just gonna call him Double Vest, even if he's not wearing double vest.
Just
but
vest.
they wasn't even wearing a vest. He was just wearing a sleeveless shirt. Here's they're standing there, and they're watching the show. They're watching the match. They're standing there doing it, and GYV doesn't like the fact that they're there. And then the whole thing devolves into a big brawl, and the four of them all brawl, and they're all brawly brawlers. And all four teams brawl. And I was watching it like, this is what the tag team division of NXT is. Like the place that gave us the Revival and American Alpha and a much better version of the Viking Raiders when they were the War Raiders. And Undisputed Era and Sanity and AOP and DIY. And like for a while there, Mustache Mountain was actually an NXT stateside. Like it used to be, every takeover would start out with a tag team match for the titles, and it would go like 21 minutes, and they'd walk back to Gorilla saying, "Follow that, motherfuckers!"
Yeah.
Like and nobody could, because they were so damn good, because that's what tag team wrestling was in NXT. And look what you've done now. You basically turned all four of these teams into jokes. There's all four of them in different ways. Like I get you think the Double Vest and the Beach are serious. They're not a serious tag team.
No.
You've turned GYV, who should be great. They're absolutely capable of being great, but you're booking them like losers. And then you got Jacket Time, and I'm like, you call them Jack It Time, for God's sake. And then you got the Creed brothers, who should be taken serious, but they can't rise above all these other yahoos who are in that section of the division. Like, this should not be hard. You have Imperium, you have GYV, you have MSK, who we'll talk about in a bit, who's not allowed to actually wrestle matches anymore. And you could just have them have a basic round robin type thing where they just turn out great matches. And then you throw in their Legado, let Legado do good matches every now and then. You build up the Creed brothers so they're on the same level of those guys, but you do it over time. So you hide their deficiencies while building up their things that make them good. And you have a semblance of what could be a good tag team division, but you won't let them just wrestle and be good at wrestling. They have to have stupid gimmicks. And it's what Vince has always hated, tag team wrestling.
Yeah.
So now he's in charge of NXT. He's put it into his thing to ruin it.
I just don't get why. So the most concerning thing to me about this is, like, the tag team picture on the main roster is also a disaster.
Yeah.
So, like, the blueprint for that is not promising. Like, at least with the singles division, well, it's booked bad and whatever. Like, if you're a tag team, in WWE. Like, there's just, unless you're the Usos or the New Day, who are just going to fight each other until the end of time, I guess, like, there's nothing for you. So it's hard because it's like, what are you then even developing? Like, what aren't you seeing in the teams that are on the NXT roster now that you need to see for them to be on the main roster, because you're not doing anything up there that's worth a damn, right? So it's just very confusing about, like, all of these are very one-note jokes. I think the Creed brothers are in good shape if the booking is
the booking is better.
Yeah.
Like, and again, like, if you just let GYV have good matches, they're one of the best tag teams you have on any of the rosters.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, but you just won't just let them be good. You won't just let them be good. You say you have to stand in the way of them being good. Like, you'd never do that if you're a booker of anything. Like, just don't do that.
Well, that's they're on this, like, cusp of, they're a professional wrestling tag team. They're not a sports entertainment tag team.
Right.
And so they're trying to figure out what that balance looks like. And it's ugly because the balance, when you've gone so far in one direction, when you try to balance it out with something gimmicky, you look stupid.
Yeah.
Like, it just looks like a watered down version of what you were.
Yeah.
Does not work.
Yeah. We got, hold on, make sure. We got a backstage thing with Persia Parada walks in and says, "Hey, our match tonight was delayed for some reason, was postponed. I don't know what that and they never really specifically said why their match was postponed. They never really said that. But then Grayson Waller walks in and Indy is like, "Hey, you beat up my father. I don't like you." And Waller's like, well, he makes some bad jokes about Johnny Gargano, says, "Hey, we're all Australian. We should stick together." And then he makes another bad joke, and Indy was going to fight him. And Persia Parada's like, "No, it's not worth it." And I just thought, what are you going to do? Are you going to kill him? Like, it's not worth the jail time if you actually did. That was funny. So whatever. I don't, it was a weird thing to introduce that Indy and Persia were supposed to have a match, but they're not having a match anymore. But we didn't ever find out what that was postponed for, but whatever. Waller his whole thing is, I'm going to be as annoying as possible because the people who run NXT think that's what heat is. And
they don't know the difference between go home heat and booked heat, like, at all. Yeah. And the thing I feel like everybody popped for the most in this was Indy calling him a douche. And that's not great. No. Like, that's not what you want.
Yeah.
The problem is you can't have a guy that walks around that's like, I'm the shit, when he hasn't done anything. He's never held his title. He's never been close to the title. And we'll get into that in a little bit. But, like, you don't just get to call yourself the shit because you beat up a guy who was retiring. Like, that doesn't work. That just makes no sense.
Yeah. Carmelo Hayes is wearing a Santa hat, which I approve of. And he has a backstage thing where he talks shit about Roddy Strong, and then Trick Williams is going to have his first match against Dexter Lumis, and he starts talking about how he's not afraid of anybody, and then behind him on a very big television is a picture of is Dexter Lumis's face. I don't know. Again, you're going to have bear with me. I'm not sure why the face showed up there or how the face showed up there. Did Dexter Lumis astrally project himself into the television? Like, I know he's a serial killer. Is he also like a ghost? Like, what? Why is the TV just like out of the blue showing Dexter Lumis's face? Whatever. But then Trick Williams sees it and gets scared. There's a video from earlier today where Zoe Stark and Io Shirai are in the training room, and Legado comes in and says, we're going to have our training session or whatever. And Elektra Lopez is like, hey, Shirai, I'm going to fight you, I guess. And so that's the match that got made. So they're going to have that match tonight. There's Elektra Lopez versus Io Shirai. That's what they're doing with Io. That's what they're doing with Io Shirai. Again, Io Shirai, who is one of the top 10 women in the world at wrestling. this is what they're doing with her. Just this thing, whatever. It's whatever. I can't do anything about it. So
I think Dexter Lumis was a mirage that is in Trick's head.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm fine with it because it's great. And just of all the things on NXT, you know what?
Yep.
That's fine.
Yep.
Again, is there only one trainer? Do you guys not make appointments for your training sessions?
I don't know.
What the is going on backstage? Mm-hmm. What is going on with your medical staff that Io Shirai pops people's shoulders in during matches? And then Sami Zayn's got kayfabe doctors coming out to the ring with him just to guard him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would think that there would be appointments set for such training sessions. And I'll tell you what I don't need. I don't need a feud between Io Shirai and Elektra Lopez.
Well, you're not going to get one because it's a whole. This was just a means to an end. We'll talk about that later. There's really not a feud going on between Io Shirai and Elektra Lopez. Io Shirai is the least important character in any of this, which is kind of what sucks.
Ouch.
But, yeah. We'll talk about that in a second. Trick Williams versus Dexter Lumis is a match that happens.
It's not good.
It's not great at all.
That apron spot, that ring skirt spot was so bad.
It was not good.
Trick Williams is not good.
No, he's not good yet. And this is a good thing. He's not good yet. He might be decent at a later date.
Yeah, currently, but why is he strapped to one of the top guys in NXT then?
A guy who doesn't need like if
a mouthpiece.
I'm trying to think like if I'm not saying that this is where they should put this guy, but if Carmelo had a guy like an Omos who just stood there and was like, if you mess with Carmelo Hayes, I'm going to break your back. Like, if maybe that's something. You don't need a guy jumping around. Carmelo Hayes doesn't need a hype man. That's not a thing that Carmelo Hayes needs. Like, there's other things you could give him, but he doesn't need that as part of his act.
Where's Odyssey Jones?
Odyssey Jones would be a great choice for that.
Yeah, and they had a natural story there because they were the last two in the tournament. Like, that would have been such a good tag team.
Yeah.
Or duo.
Or whatever. Not even tag, just again, Odyssey Jones just mopping up for Carmelo Hayes.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing. That could be really fun. Like, if you want a shot at the A-champ, you got to go through my right-hand guy.
Yeah.
And the guy who walks in is Odyssey Jones. And guess what? You're not going through Odyssey Jones. That could be a thing where everybody who wants to step up and face the champ doesn't get to because you got that. So anyway,
also would help you prevent booking 9,000 rematches.
This also
when you do things like that.
Whatever. Roderick Strong shows up. Bivens and Ivy Nile are in the Raven's Nest, which apparently I thought was like under the control of Imperium, but apparently anybody can just go up there. So they're up there, and then Roddy Strong shows up, and he beats up Carmelo Hayes. More on that in a second. Trick Williams, I guess, tries to attack Lumis with his shoe. It's not a hard sole shoe. Like, if you hit somebody with a shoe, it's like the sole's made of rubber. Like, I guess it would mildly irritate somebody, but it wouldn't like hurt more than your fist. Your fist would hurt more than like the rubber of a shoe. Whatever. He misses.
Also, you had a match. Why aren't you in wrestling gear?
I don't know.
That works if it's a speaking segment and you take off your shoe and you hit someone and you were dressed in a suit. You look like a fucking moron if you don't have wrestling boots on.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it never works if you hit somebody with a shoe. Like let's never do that no matter the context.
No, but it makes
I'm with you.
It's at least the appropriate footwear for the situation.
Perhaps. Perhaps. But Lumis ducks the shoe and puts him in the silence. And I guess the whole point of the shoe was that he holds the shoe until he drops the shoe from being put to sleep by the silence sleeper hold. But he doesn't even do that right. Like he's holding the shoe, and if you actually fell asleep, you just drop the shoe. He like throws the shoe, and like that's not a thing. Whatever.
Also, it is it is a known fact that Dexter Lumis is a serial killer and has an axe on him at any time. Your defense is a shoe. Come on, you got to do better than a shoe against a serial killer. You ever watch Law and Order and they're like, oh, you know what took that guy out? A shoe? No. He's a murderer.
Yeah.
Don't counter a murder with a shoe.
Do you know the serial killer's Achilles heel? A shoe. It's the one thing you didn't plan for. Nope, that you never heard that in any movie.
Not even like a good shoe. Like a
so Lumis is in the ring afterwards, and then Grayson Waller shows up and hits him with a chair a bunch of times, because Grayson Waller, his whole thing is just, how can I piss off the most people? And that's going to get me over as a heel, which I guess, like, in the rudimentary version of like, if a 9-year-old was booking a show, we're like, this guy makes everybody angry at him. He's a bad guy. Like, yes,
if a 9-year-old was on the show, they would be Grayson Waller.
So
Grayson Waller is the little kid that, like, they come to visit you and you're like, oh my God, this kid is just like, look what I can do. And then they just like jump up and down. And you're like, I've seen you jump up and down 74 times today. Like, relax. That's Grayson Waller. Like, just go away. And he's dressed like the NXT logo tonight. What is that shirt? Get out of here with that shirt.
WWE across both, certainly on Raw, is, in order to enhance how much we hate the heel, they must wear more and more obnoxious clothing.
Okay, but like, you know who does that really well? Ethan Page. He wears the perfect, annoying button downs.
Sure, I suppose.
This is not a good example.
It's better than this, I will say that. So Grayson Waller, AJ arrives in the parking lot. Watch out, AJ. You haven't been here very often, so. Anyway,
prayers up
for AJ in the parking lot. So anyway, Grayson Waller gets on a mic and says, you know, all these people, whenever they get inducted to the Hall of Fame, they always thank you, the fans. Well, when I'm inducted into the Hall of Fame, slow down there, Grayson. When I'm inducted into the Hall of Fame, I'm going to say, I told you so, and I'm going to thank myself. And he's just generically annoying. And then AJ Styles comes out. And this is a thing. I thought they were actually going to do something, but I guess they're going to do something in a couple of weeks. The problem, they're going to add this to New Year's Evil. But people are chanting, shut the hell up at Waller. AJ says, yes, I agree with the crowd. Shut the hell up. And the thing about this, that AJ does this, and I never noticed it as much as I did in this particular promo, but he stands with his hips facing the hard cam with the person he's talking to here, and then gestures across his body with his arm this way. I've seen what you do. I'm looking at you right now, but you're looking at him very oddly, AJ. Like, it's a weird thing that he does. But listen, like, it's just it keeps. I think the reason they had to do the Omos breakup angle with AJ last night is so they can get AJ to do this long ass feud with Grayson Waller they have planned. Like, heavens forfend, but I believe that's what they're planning. Because they keep bringing up Omos over and over and over again. Eventually, AJ basically says, you know what, just shut up, stop talking, and let's fight right now. And so Grayson Waller, like, every heel's got to learn how to do this, I guess, at some point. So he does the thing where he takes off his shirt and his expensive watch, and then he decides, actually, no, I'm not going to fight you. I'm going to get out of the ring. I mean, everybody does it, but you can do it in a way that doesn't suck, and he needs to learn how to do that because this wasn't very good. And then he says, I've decided I'm going to let Omos have first crack at you, and then I'll clean up whatever's left. And then he does this weird shimmy thing he does with his shoulders and leaves. And so AJ has to face Omos next week. He's going to lose that match. And then they already announced Grayson Waller versus Dexter Lumis next Tuesday. So it's possible we see more AJ Styles there, and they make the match for New Year's Evil. Because everyone's like, you know what we want to see? Oh, good. They're breaking up AJ and Omos. Now we get to have the real AJ. AJ is going to be a great contender for Big E's WWE Championship at the Royal Rumble. Can't wait to see that match, says everybody. Said nobody, : I can't wait to see AJ Styles go to NXT and face Grayson Waller.
Do you know how bad you have to be at this to make AJ Styles just seem like a normal dude? Like the level of incompetence to make AJ Styles seem like not one of the best to ever do this. You've got to be real bad. Like, it's got to be bad. And for the past year and a half or so, that's absolutely what they've done. And I get what they were trying to do with Omos. I get that it didn't work. In my opinion, I don't find him particularly charismatic. His selling has gotten better from the atrocity that it was before. I think he's going to be a big dude that throws people, and we're not going to see much more. Maybe he ends up back in NXT to develop, which wouldn't be the worst thing. But then what the hell did you just do for the past year? I don't know if somebody backstage hates AJ Styles, but like, just like 3 years ago,
they have decided in their infinite wisdom that Grayson Waller must be viewed as the most important person on this show. Now, I not the best worker, not the biggest star, but the most important person. That's why he's on way more segments than there was no reason for him to be in that segment with Indy and Persia. Like that segment didn't even need to exist, except they want to get Grayson Waller on the show as much as possible. I don't agree with it, but that's obviously what they're doing. And so they think it's really important that we build this Grayson Waller into a big star, which is why we're giving him the most screen time of anybody on the show, and why we say, AJ, you're going to come to NXT and get this kid over, because it is very important to us that this kid, for some reason, gets over as a giant star.
Well, why the shit does AJ Styles give a crap about him? That's my thing. Like, if you want to do that, why don't you have him, I don't know, win matches and hold a title at some point? If you want someone to feel important.
But I agree with you, but that's not what they care about. They care about they care about what he said. They actually, AJ brings it up. It's not about wins and losses. It's about likes and swipes. That is that they have decided that his philosophy is the way they want to operate.
I just don't. So as far as the segment goes, you want to push Grayson Waller, fine. He's not the worst in the ring. This promo was a disaster, I felt like, on his end. This was just bad. It was confusing. It was circular. It made no sense. Him saying that he's the guy there when he's won like a couple matches, and one of them was in the War Games match, which he was not responsible for. He's a delusional
narcissist. I understand why he thinks he's the biggest guy there, because he's a delusional narcissist. But I don't understand why they think that he should, in actuality, be the biggest guy there. That doesn't make sense to me. I understand why he would say that about himself, but I don't understand why the people who are in control of NXT are making him be that.
What I don't understand, and AJ eventually got to it, which was like, hey, you did okay for 3 weeks, and now you think you're the best guy in the
right.
You need to have your face in that situation, chopping him the fuck down, or this doesn't work at all. And it didn't work until AJ said that. I don't get the super push behind him, but I kind of get that they're like, okay, Braun Breaker's like good, right? Like, he's taken care of. I feel like Grayson Waller is one of those guys that was kind of on the cusp where it was like he's good in the ring. We think there's something there. Let's turn him heel. And just like, I think this is like a lot of sink or swim, but I just don't get why you don't have like a Duke Hudson in that role then.
Because they see something more in Grayson Waller than they do in Duke Hudson is the only.
But he's not even handling it terribly. This promo was not good.
No,
but like
again, it's the same thing that basically the same thing in a way that Ciampa said about Breakker. Like, you're doing pretty good for where you are in your career. Don't get me wrong, but you're not ready for this yet. I mean, Ciampa Paw's talking about the NXT championship in his mind.
Yeah.
But like, my thing is like Grayson Waller, like you are showing flashes of something that might be great down the line. Right now, you are not ready to be the most important guy on a major cable wrestling show. That doesn't make up, you know?
But in the world it's operating in, that's just not even true.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's annoying.
We got some super chats about this. The Young Bucks dress better than Waller.
The Young Bucks dress better than everyone in his defense. Like, they dyed their beards pink.
Yeah, they did that very good. Mark Losper says AJ Styles is probably in my top 5 of all time. To hear that he's saddled with this complete S makes me legitimately sad. Let the chef cook, man. Yeah. Listen, AJ Styles got a great match, not a good match, a great match out of 50-year-old Shane McMahon. Like, I think AJ Styles can give everybody Grayson Waller's best match possible. But again, as I said about the Omos thing that's going to happen next week, if you can't have a good match with AJ Styles, get the hell out of the business.
I think I could. I'm confident I could have a good match with AJ Styles at this point.
Yeah. Hey, Zach Barber says AJ Styles still one of the top 10 wrestlers in the world at 44 when he wants to be. Losing to Grayson Waller is a crime. Listen, they've decided that this guy is the most important thing. Like, I don't know.
You know what? The thing that pisses me off about it the most is it's gonna work.
Yeah,
that's what annoys me the most. Is like AJ's gonna make him look great. He's gonna make the whole thing work, and I don't know why Grayson Waller deserves that yet.
Yeah. The Nerd Guru says the 2018-2019 AJ Styles run is something we could have had. AJ versus Cole or versus Gargano or versus Ciampa versus Black versus O'Reilly versus Lee. Anyone, but no, we got this instead. Like, he skipped right to the main roster, which is not something people were doing at the time he showed up at Royal Rumble 2016. And had he gone to NXT at that time, he could have slid immediately into a main event feud somewhere between Samoa Joe and Finn Balor, and maybe like Shinsuke Nakamura shows up there and they have the match. Imagine if, like, because everyone was like, oh my God, we're going to get the Wrestle Kingdom 10 rematch between Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles at WrestleMania. And the match was like, all right. And then they were like, Shinsuke Nakamura's new thing is he punched people in the dick. Every match he punched people in the dick. Like, imagine if we got Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles on the NXT stage at that point. But no, we don't get that. I saw one in here before. I really like this one. The Batted at One Jam Beard says, Waller is a very annoying Rocco from Rocco's Modern Life. I honestly have no interest in him because it feels like Miz 2.0, and we don't need that. Yeah, he's a very annoying Rocco from Modern Life. So then we get the Diamond Mine backstage, and they propose the end of the Cruiserweight division. That's what they propose.
Yeah.
They propose that Roddy Strong versus Carmelo Hayes at New Year's Evil is a title for title, both titles on the line, winner take all, North American Championship versus Cruiserweight Championship, and then the winner.
Push them together.
Yeah, the winner. Well, we want to maroon, like half the belt to be like a nice dark maroon, and half the belt to be purple. They'll split it down the middle and then go like that. And so Carmelo Hayes is going to win that match, almost certainly, I would say. And then they'll just they actually called it a title unification match at one point during the night. So like whoever wins, like that's a one belt thing now. So I don't know how long did the WWE Cruiserweight title exist for before they shelved it the last time, before they brought the Cruiserweight division back. It wasn't that long, but this feels like too quick of a 5 years, 5.5 years. We hardly knew ye, but that's it.
And it was like the coolest thing ever.
It really was for a while. And the match itself is going to hump.
Yeah,
like,
it's going to be great.
Carmelo Hayes versus Roderick Strong is going to be an amazing match. And if Carmelo Hayes wins, that's the right choice, considering what NXT 2.0 is. And then, like, honestly, if you're not going to make the Cruiserweight title a Cruiserweight title, then it's the European title. It's a lesser mid-card title. You don't need it anymore. So, that guy would win the Cruiserweight title.
Yes, he would.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. So I actually agree with them getting rid of one of the belts. It's just very sad to me that it has to be the Cruiserweight title, which was the most fun belt to watch change hands for a year there in 2018.
It just ruled.
Yeah. Bivens is able to work in a ho, which I thought was great.
I don't know why, but it's okay when he says it.
Yeah, it is.
There's so many people I would be like, that's low.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. He gets a pass because it was fun and funny.
Jay Blood says, appreciate you both tremendously. The best show about a crappy show I've ever seen. Happy holidays. Happy holidays to you.
Thank you.
Hold on one second. And then the Batter to One, Jam Beard says, just wanted to say that even though WWE gives us craptacular shows, you guys are great and also great for putting up with our song requests. Thank you. Yes.
Oh boy.
It'll be fun. Hold on a second. I thought we were done with this whole MSK and Riddle thing. I really did. I really thought we were done with it after last week, but we're not. It's actually continuing not only this week, but also next week. We got Riddle and MSK having fun with scooters. And that's what they did. And then they ran into a bus on their scooters. And I was like, oh my God, they killed them. Like the flip-flops literally fell in slow motion. And I was like, they killed them? That's crazy. And no, it's worse than that. It was all a dream. Or was it? Like they actually wake up in their clothes from the first vignette they filmed, waiting for the bus. And they're like, oh my God, did you have the same dream? Yeah, I did. Oh, no more drugs for us is basically what they said. And then Riddle shows up and it wasn't a dream because he's got the scooters. And I'm going to take you guys I'm going to go with you next week to call out Imperium because you lost the titles and you've been away for 6 weeks. And Imperium's already defended them since you've been gone, but you're going to walk right back into a rematch because nothing matters. I see a lot of things in the chat about, oh, but this is going to be cool because we're going to get MSK and Riddle versus Imperium and Walter, and I'm like, I don't think that's what we're getting. I mean, if Riddle wasn't currently a member of the Raw Tag Team Champions, perhaps. But I feel like that's not a thing we're going to get.
I just don't think they get how drugs work. I've never smoked weed in my life. I don't do drugs, but like, I know people that do. I know a lot of people that do. A lot of people smoke weed.
Yeah.
This is not, you don't trip on weed, from my understanding. You don't hallucinate and manifest someone, right? Then I probably would. Then I would smoke weed. If I could just like manifest people, that would be rad. Just so much no. Just no to all of this. Like, they were just tag team champions.
Mark Losper says, currently in a meeting, so I have this on mute. Kate looks so dejected. I love the idea of our fans in Australia watching us while at work.
This is the go home to Christmas. They couldn't give us something nice.
Yeah, I think this is very funny. This might be true. The N and the H says, I don't usually read the non-super chats, but Riddle is there, so MSK doesn't get booed.
Oh my God, just have them be heels.
I mean, if you really want, like, have them be cocky heels. Like, you can do that. I mean, I think it's kind of a waste, but
you can book whatever show you want.
Yeah.
Whatever show you want. And they were like, they just dropped the titles. Let's have them for 6 weeks go on a trip that was a dream, that was a drug trip, but that the drug that they were tripping on was weed. Yeah. And it wasn't, because now Matt Riddle is like, what?
Yeah. I don't know, man.
I don't know either.
I don't know. I also know about this. Idris Enofe, who is in a feud with Boa, has a match with Von Wagner. Remember where Von Wagner is going to be in Von Waction. And
I forgot about
Von Wagner gets Von Wold up because he lost. He lost in a very quick match. He lost really bad. Like that's good.
Everybody gets
Wagner
rolled up at some point, I guess.
Von Wagner goes for a power bomb, but NFA, he slides down and rolls him up out of nowhere for the pin, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, what an upset!" And I'm like, "Is it really?" Like, I mean, like, honestly though, is it really? But Robert Stone is watching this thing, very closely because of that weird glance they exchanged last week, and I'm like, if you're good, Robert Stone. All you've ever done is manage women badly. Like, that's the only thing you've ever done. So I don't know if we're supposed to go, ooh, Robert Stone, eh? Wouldn't that be a great pickup for Robert Stone? And it's just what Von Wagner needs is Robert Stone in his corner. Like, I don't know if we're supposed to think that, but I think we are supposed to think that. Mostly, though, Robert Stone, I just want you to get your new client, if he does sign with you, some new goddamn pants. Because those are the ugliest damn things I've ever seen. Just he needs new pants. And you could maybe teach him how to not get rolled up.
If he can teach him how to not get rolled up, he should manage everybody on the roster.
Vern Wagner. From the Battle of One Jam Beard. But anyway, so after the match, after he got pinned, he gets his heat back. By beating the hell out of Idris Enofe, and then he shoulder bumps Robert Stone as he walks out. So it's very important that we're getting this whole thing. The Nerd Guru says Adam Cole put over Kyle O'Reilly, who would then go out on his back for Von Wagner. That makes me physically ill to think about. Listen, the thing of it is like Von Wagner, like, he hasn't been there for 5 years. I looked this up. He's been there for like 2.5 years, but that's still too long to be as bad as he is. He's been there for 2.5 years. He should get better. They're giving him the wrong things to do to begin with. He wasn't ready for the spot he was put in. He wasn't ready to like talk in front of a camera. Like, he wasn't ready to do all those things. You could do things with him that would, like, I honestly said, like, it would be really cool if he was just a guy in a suit. You dye his hair black, slick it back dramatically, and have him walk around behind Tony D everywhere Tony D goes, and have Tony D never mention him until that guy just comes out of nowhere with a crowbar and whacks some guy in the back of the leg. Like, if they had introduced Von Wagner that way and never let him talk, he was just a guy who was like sent there by Tony D'Angelo's dad to make sure nothing bad happened to Tony D'Angelo. If you get my drift, wink, wink.
I just don't have a lot of redeeming things to say about Von Wagner. Like, I don't even know if that would work because I don't feel like he's very charismatic.
No, he doesn't have to be. Just have to like stay there stone-faced. Agreed. So they interview Imperium. And they speak in German and Italian, and she says, "I don't understand German or Italian." And they say that that we're still going to beat MSK even if they found a shaman.
Neat,
I guess. Yeah. Elektra Lopez. says that she's going to defeat Io Shirai in the biggest match of her life. And turns out she's not going to defeat Io Shirai in the biggest match of her life, because during the match, she only comes out to the ring with Raul Mendoza and Joaquin Wilde. She doesn't come out with Santos. During the match, out comes Zion Quinn, and he dispatches with those two dudes, and then takes off his shirt and stands on the ring apron and holds out mistletoe, and she becomes entranced, literally goes into a trance and walks toward the mistletoe. She can't help herself. She's being compelled to do so. Because a hot guy is holding mistletoe, and then because then Santos comes down, pulls him off the apron, gets trashed himself by Zion Quinn, and Elektra Lopez gets beaten by Io Shirai with a moonsault. Like, it's not what. Are they watching Hallmark movies like this? A hot guy with a mistletoe. I can't not look at him. Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I've done worse than that, and I don't think I have. I don't think I've ever been so distracted by a hot man that I would forget I was in a wrestling match, or that I've been under the spell of one. But I kind of like this. Yeah. It just is such a cheesy telenovela that I'm like, at least you're being consistent with what you're telling me. This kind of fits into that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Sean Blanford says they pinned Von Wagner tonight. That's a choice. Yeah. I mean, after all they did for him, that's kind of crazy.
Well, I think they're going to lean in this direction of like, that guy needs my help from Robert Stone, but like that guy also hasn't helped anyone. So maybe Robert Stone should be like, hey, that guy's winning. Maybe I can supplement his winningness.
Zach Barber says that Newhart being a dream made more sense than MSK's 6-week journey to find the shaman being a dream. The Batted to One Jam Beard says that they're going to put them together, the two belts, and they'll be, instead of the North American Championship and the Cruiserweight Championship, they're going to be the North Weight title. Kenshiro says, I actually like Zion Quinn, but I'd like him a lot more if they didn't have him doing this telenovela BS. Happy holidays. Keep cool, Gabagool, and also with you.
And with your spirit.
So, Sean Blanford sent in a super chat. Says, nothing else matters on this show besides our boy Tony D getting the shine in the main event against Pete Dunne. He might have picked up the W, but he walked tall at the end. Hope you have a safe and happy holidays and keep cool, Gabagools. It is time for all of us to stop with the whole, he's just a meme wrestler. Like, he's over. I get it. But he's just a meme wrestler. He's a fucking suplex machine is what the fuck this guy is. Like, he was just yeeting Pete Dunne all over the ring. One of them, a pump handle, like high angle release suplex, was released a little too high, maybe, was a little unsafe, but Pete Dunne took it perfectly. But he was like, he had a bunch, like a released German, like this really cool, like overhead thing that he did. Like, he's way better than he has any right to be at this point. And also he's super charismatic. And yes, he's playing like a stereotype character, but he's playing it perfectly. You never believe that he thinks his character is a joke. He's playing it straight, as though somehow a guy from The Sopranos is also a professional wrestler. Like, I don't know how that works. He's made it work. And now he's fucking Taz all of a sudden. Like, he's doing overhead capture suplexes. Like, I did not know that was part of his thing. Like, he's got something very special that he's not only is going to be a big part of the future of NXT 2.0, he's going to be a big part of the future of WWE, unless they screw it up horribly on the main roster. All you have to do is just let him do this, and he'll be over, Alex, like Rover immediately.
How many people have we said that about, though? Like, just let them do.
But the thing is Vince is in charge now. If we say that about people who were under Hunter's regime and they go up and it's terrible. This guy is what Vince wants him to be right now. Vince wants him to be this, and he's knocking that out of the park. So when he goes to the main roster, he'll also presumably be doing this, and he'll knock that out of the park. I'm not saying he's perfect right now, but he did stuff tonight that I didn't think was that he was capable of. He lost the match, yes, but that's probably for the best. I mean, we don't want to see Pete Dunne, putting over too many people at this point. It's his first loss in WWE. But it's to Pete Dunne, who's a former 1 million day champion in NXT UK. Like, it's fine that he lost to Pete Dunne. And then after the match, he gets to stand tall by breaking Pete Dunne's hand with a hammer, with a crowbar. Like, he wins, even though he lost the match.
A couple of things. I would be fine with Tony D losing on any episode that wasn't the go home to Christmas. You can't even give us a Tony D victory on the go home to Christmas. Come on. No, but this was a great match. I feel like Pete Dunne is actually just like the perfect opponent for him because of how well he can sell, but also how I think he's really good at getting the best out of his opponents that he can. And when that opponent is someone that's green, it just seems like they had a very good chemistry. And that, I don't know, if you don't have a hard on for Tony D at this point,
I just see people saying like he's really good at playing the meme character, but he's also a meme wrestler and he's not good. Like he's not great, but then again, he's really friggin' green compared to all these people he's sharing the ring with.
But as you got to hear me. What I'm saying is, if you don't have a hard on, for Tony D, you might need a little bit of help in the getting it up department.
Yeah.
Look, we're running out of time. We got a lot of Christmas songs to sing. I'm trying to create a segue out of no here. Sean's going to tell you about Blue Chew.
He would if I could find it.
Where are you, Blue?
I hear you. Times are rough. We just got out of a wild situation, a wild year, and people are saying, you know what, it's a hard knock life. But I disagree. Instead, I believe it's a hard cock life when you use Blue Chew and the code Fightful, and you get your first shipment free. Free? All you got to do is pay $5 shipping. Blue Chew is made with the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, so you know they work, but they work on your schedule. Full stomach, empty stomach, ready to go, want to get in the mood. Blue Chew has you covered. Instead of treated, we get tricked. Instead of kisses, we get kicked. I don't think so. More like somebody's getting dicked when you use BlueChew.com. No awkward conversations with the doctor. Because, I'm all about not being awkward. No waiting in line at the pharmacy. It's because they work with their online physicians to get the active ingredient you need, and it ships straight to your door. BlueChew.com and the code Fightful gets you your first shipment free. That's how confident they are. Free. Use that promo code Fightful. Hardcock Life.
I feel as though Sean's ad time should be taken out of our 2-hour limit.
So that's the end of that. Tony D got to look great in the main event of NXT. That's a big step for him. Good for him. And
the main event mobster, man, that's where he belongs.
That's right. Actually, it's true. Like AJ Styles actually put over Tony D in his promo as being better than Grayson Waller. So that's true. So we got some super chats and humper chats I'm going to burn through, and then we're going to do some fun Christmassy stuff. Because as Ryan Sullivan says, let's wrap up this NXT talk. I'm here for the shenanigans. Some stupid punk says, child does a thing. Kate, you need to calm down.
I just don't need to see it 87 times. You know when children are like, guess what I can do, and they do nothing.
I know what they're like.
I'm unimpressed.
Spencer Green says, I want to send this very first chat to my very favorite Frightful team. I have serious question. Oh my goodness. Born in November 2000, didn't get into wrestling until 2018.
Next, born in 2000. No, I'm just kidding.
What NXT takeover would you recommend? Start with Takeover Brooklyn, the first one with Sasha and Bailey. It's you have to do it. And I would say watch all of them up through like 2018. Like they're all really, really good. And you don't have to watch anything else but the takeovers to get an actual sense of the storylines there. They're so good. But you can't skip Brooklyn 1, but also like Takeover Dallas is one of the best ones ever. And they just keep getting better and better and better. Mark Losper, for Mark Losper says, like in CSI Miami, hold on, I don't have sunglasses, but I'll do it like this. Looks like this shoe was his Achilles heel. That's good. The Nerd Guru says, hey, Kalex, did not watch the show at all due to my third viewing of Spider-Man. Did Uncle Alan Jones do anything? Not really. No. Also, you both rule. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you too, Nerd Guru. The Battle of One Jam Beard says, were you dreaming of a white Christmas? Hashtag Blue Chew.
Hashtag Veer is coming.
Yes. Always. Over and over again. Forever. Some Super Punk says, I'm just here for the NXT review, the musical. So we have some responses to other things before. We're talking about the ratings for NXT. Mark Losper says, Brandon Thurston had some pretty awful predictions about this show a couple of weeks ago, comparing it to reruns of random TV. Yeah, if it doesn't start getting better, it's getting worse all the time. That's not good. I don't know where it plateaus. I don't know where the bottom is. Like it's still going down and then back up for a second and then back down and down. I don't know where it bottoms out at. That could be bad.
I don't know. They know.
Yeah, that's true. Mark Losper saying, Valab says that, for people who are in hot parts of the world right now, keep cool, Gabagool. But in parts of Sydney, Australia, it's been 95 degrees here for a week.
Ooh.
Yikes. Yeah,
well, keep cool, Gabagool.
I don't understand. That's one of the reasons I don't think I could ever, even if I had the opportunity, I don't think I could ever move to Australia because I couldn't do like, Merry Christmas. Let's go outside and take a dip in the pool. No. I just don't think I could do that. It's just not
also
in my makeup.
Spiders. No.
Well, that too, and snakes.
No, sorry.
That and snakes. Dark Saturday said this is not a report. This is a joke thing that he is saying for me to say. Fightful has confirmed with official sources at NXT that William Regal has been relocated to the punishment box and is not to be let out until further notice and on weekends and holidays. Merry Christmas. I don't know where he is. Not in the punishment box, but I don't know where he is. So here we go. JW Pringle says, please read this quote from Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens as Tony D'Angelo. It became said of Ebenezer Scrooge that he knew well the true meaning of Christmas Day that be said of each of us. And so, as Tiny Tim observed, God bless us, everyone, gabagool.
And also with you.
We got Stephen Levy saying, hey, Team KLX, hope you're all doing well. Can we get Alex's best Van Wagner? And also, how Vince would react if he hears someone saying WWE is pro wrestling instead of sports entertainment. This is how he would react. We make movies. I got a pencil. Somebody stole my egg. Keep cool, Gabagool.
And also with you.
And also with you. So we have a few things to sing that we've plotted out. I think we should save "Baby It's Cold Outside" for near the end. I sent you the lyrics in a Twitter DM. But let me see, what are the other ones we had planned on? Hold on. I wanted to do as Dusty Rhodes. I'm going to sing. Hold on. As Dusty Rhodes. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, baby. Everywhere you go, take a look at the 5 and 10. It's glistening once again with candy canes and silver lanes aglow. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, Daddy. Toys in every store. but the prettiest sight to see is the holly that will be on your own front door. That's hard times. And then I wanted to sing as Walter. Oh, the weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. Since with no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. It doesn't show signs of stopping. And I brought some corn for popping. The lights are turned way down low. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. When we finally kiss goodnight, how I'll hate going out in the storm. But if you really hold me tight, hey, all the way home I'll be warm. The fire is slowly dying, and my dear, we're still goodbying. But as long as you love me so, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
To all three of you.
Hold on, I gotta get this one out there. I gotta find this one. I got people are sending me one. I got one more here to sing as part of a request. No, give me those. I want the lyrics for Last Christmas, which you had to sing tonight.
I did
impromptu
on the bonus stream.
Yeah. So now, who is this now? Who am I supposed to sing this as? I always forget. Tony D, of course. Of course, it's Tony D.
Of course, Tony.
Last Christmas, I gave you my heart, but the very next day, you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I'll give it to someone special. Last Christmas, you gave me my heart, but the very next day, this is the same freaking thing over and over again. Once bitten, twice shy, I keep my distance, but still, you catch my eye, I'm going to catch you right in the freaking mouth. But tell me, baby, do you recognize me? Well, it's been a year. Doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me very much. Merry Christmas. I wrapped it up and sent it with a note saying I love you. I meant it. Now I know what a fool I've been. But if you kiss me now, I know you'd fool me again. That's why I say you're going to sleep with the fishes. So that was from Pedro Taquin. Taquin. I messed that up really bad. From Pedro. That was a request.
Thank you, Pedro.
Thank you, Pedro. So do you have anything that you would like to do?
Well, I had the 12 days of Christmas, but it's going to be so long.
It is. We can't do the whole thing. We can only do let's start it from 12 and then go back to the beginning.
But you have to do
I know.
You have to do 12 and 11 and then it goes alternate from there.
Okay.
And I put it in the private chat.
All right. Okay, fine.
There's a very specific reason.
In the private chat now? Okay, I gotta find it now. All right, here we go. Okay. On the 12th day of Christmas, 12 on the 12th day of Christmas, we had on NXT 12 war games. 11 Wagners wagging.
10 K's a brick king.
9 dummies.
8 DQ endings.
7 betches betching.
6 diamonds mining. 5 brass rings that are completely imaginary. They're just that. 4 roll-up pins.
3 pot heads.
2 Buster and Brunette.
And this song with your friend Tony D.
That would have been real long.
It would have been a long time. It would have been a long time to do the whole thing. So hold on. I make sure I have okay. I want to do this. I want to make sure I miss it here. All right. Okay. Finally, we definitely have a Wingham Regal wrap, so don't worry about that. We're definitely gonna do that before we go.
I do have one other Christmas song, but
we do. We'll do that. But also, here we go. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose. And if you ever saw it, baby, you would even say it glows. All of the other reindeer wouldn't used to laugh and call him names. They wouldn't let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer war games. Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? Then how the reindeer loved him as they shouted out with glee, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history.
Like my Uncle Tony, I swear to God.
Gabagool.
And with your spirit.
Did I miss anything else in here that I wanted to do? No. Oh, okay. This came in from our friend Drew, who sent in
We love Drew.
a super chat during the previous one, but we didn't get to it before the show ended. He wanted me to do as Tony D, Dominic the donkey, the Italian Christmas donkey. So I'm going to sing that. No, I'm singing it. I'm doing it, Drew. Here we go. Santa's got a little friend. His name is Dominic, the cutest little donkey. You never see him kick. When Santa visits his paisans, with Dominic he'll be, because the reindeer cannot climb those hills of Italy. Hey, jingity jing, hee haw, it's Dominic the donkey. Jingity jing, hee haw, the Italian Christmas donkey. La 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 do da da. Jingle bells around his feet and presents on the sled. Hey, look at the Mayor's Derby on top of Dominic's head. A pair of shoes for Louie and a dress for Josephine. The label on the inside says they're made in Brooklyn. Hey, jingity jing, hee haw, the Dominic the donkey. Jingity jing, hee haw, the Italian Christmas donkey. Hey, gabagool, and also with you.
And with your spirit.
And with your spirit. Okay, so should we do our duet of the
Of course.
of Baby It's Cold Outside with Tony D and Moni D? What did we decide your name was?
I think we settled on Moni.
Tony and Moni.
Tony and Moni, baby.
Here we go.
Oh, I really can't stay.
Baby, it's cold outside. Huh?
I gotta go away.
Hey, baby, it's cold outside.
This evening has been
hoping that you'd drop in.
so very nice.
Hey, I'll hold your hand. Oh, they're just like ice, huh?
My mother will start to worry.
Hey, beautiful, what's your hurry?
My father will be pacing the floor.
Listen to that fireplace roar.
So really, I'd better scurry.
Beautiful, please don't hurry.
Well, maybe just a half a drink more.
I'll put some records on while I pour.
The neighbors might think.
Hey, baby, it's bad out there.
Say, what's in this drink?
No cabs to be had out there, not even Uber.
I wish I knew how.
No eyes are like starlight now.
To break this spell.
I'll take your hat. Your hair looks swell.
I ought to say no, sir.
Mind if I move in closer?
At least I'm going to say that I tried.
Hey, what's the sense of hurting my pride,
I
huh?
really can't stay.
Baby, don't hold out. Baby, it's cold
outside. Alex Pawlowski. If you told me way back in January that I would be spending my Tuesday nights
what a year
singing a duet in a Marissa Tomei impression, or gluing gabagool to a wooden mask, or dressing up in funeral attire, or a zombie unicorn bride.
Yeah.
I would have said probably no, I wouldn't. And I definitely didn't think I'd be getting paid to. And certainly not to all of you people.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you to all you people.
Um, so now comes the end of the evening with the customary William Regal rap. From Zach Barber. It's I gotta say it was a good day by Ice Cube. This is one that I listened to quite a lot actually when I was just a wee lad. So I know this one. Let's see if William Regal knows it. All right. Just waking up in the morning, gotta thank God. I don't know, but today seems kinda odd. No barking from the dog, no smog, and Mama cooked a breakfast with no hog. I got my grub on, but didn't pig out. Finally got a call from a girl I want to dig out. Hooked that up for later as I hit the door, thinking, will I live another 24? I gotta go because I got me a drop top, and if I hit the switch, I can make the arse drop. Had to stop at a red light, looking in my mirror, not a jacker in sight, and everything is all right. I got a beep from Kim, and she can go all night. Called up the homies, and I'm asking y'all, which park are y'all playing basketball? Got me on the court, and I'm trouble. Last week I messed around and got a triple-double. Every way like a MJ. I can't believe today was a good day. Drove to the pad, hit the showers, didn't even get no static from them cowards, because just yesterday, them fool tried to blast me. Saw the police and they rode right past me. No flexing, didn't even look in my direction. As I ran the intersection, went to Short Dog's house, they was watching MTV Raps. What's the haps on the craps? Shake 'em up, shake 'em up, shake 'em up, shake 'em. Roll 'em in a circle of fellows and watch me break 'em. With a 7, 7-11, 7-11, 7, even back dough, little Joe. I pick up the catch flow, then we played bones and I'm yelling domino. Plus nobody I know got killed in South Central LA. Today was a good day.
William Regal throwing the what's the haps. That's my favorite part.
Thanks everybody. This has been a lot of fun. And it continues next week with more fun stuff apparently.
The go home to New Year's.
The go home to New Year's Evil. I guess that's what we're gonna go now, and this is our way of life. Every week, this is just we do now. Thanks everybody for being a part of this thing. NXT 2.0 would be unbearable were it not for this show, and I'm having so much fun with all of you guys. Yeah, so thank you very much. Kate, we still have almost 3 minutes. Tell them where they can find you.
You can find me right here, Kate on Deck IC. You can also catch me on Wednesdays on the Mark Order podcast, talking all things All Elite, and as well as Fridays with Sean Rossap doing the AEW Rampage and SmackDown post show. Except we will be off, obviously, for Christmas Eve and I almost said Thanksgiving Eve and New Year's Eve. So we will see you next year on that.
Thank you. You can follow me on the Twitter at Alex Sourgraps. I'll be here tomorrow night talking about an amazing on paper episode of AEW Dynamite. Sure, will probably be great otherwise. And then I haven't decided yet how I'm going to handle the Sour Graps weekend podcast because of, the holidays and whatnot. But my kid goes to bed early and my wife goes to bed almost as early as my kid. So I'll probably wind up just doing something, yelling at you guys about SmackDown just cause. Anyway, again, thanks so much for being a part of this thing. We, regardless of how bad NXT 2.0 gets, as long as it's on the air, we're going to have a blast reviewing it. You could be sure of that. So let's hope the ratings don't dip too far that the show goes away, because this is actually a lot of fun. So let's Merry Christmas to everybody. To all a good night. And for those of you in Australia, for God's sake, keep cool, Gabagool.